I finally thought I made a video that was really on point and making sense, and then my camera app just turned off because I realized I forgot to hit play. Darn it, I guess I'm not supposed to make sense. But anyway, I want to talk about something a little bit serious today. I want to talk about my journey on finding myself and trying to love myself as I am on this weight loss journey. I have always struggled with loving myself. There's always been a lack of security, a lack of self-love, and I don't know where it came from because my mom always made sure to tell us that we were beautiful, that she loved us, and that we can be the best we can be and things like that. I mean, she wasn't a parent that pushed us to go to college or pushed us, but she just backed up everything we did. If I thought I could be a doctor, she was right there saying, yes, you can. But my problem is she was one of very few people who I'm gonna cry, that encouraged me and didn't put me down and didn't say nasty things about me. And then I should say my brother too, but my brother's 11 years, one of my brothers is 11 years older than me, and he's like a second father, but it's just different personality than my mom. And, I had a really hard relationship with my dad and my other brother. I got along with all my aunts and uncles on my mom's side, but I did have one aunt that was she was really kind of harsh, as my mom would say, and was almost too direct. And then I have my dad's side, which I don't know how to explain this. I don't like talking about people who are past because they're not here to defend themselves, and I know that they did the best that they knew how to do. Or, I mean, I'm not making excuses for them, but I was gullible and naive of knowing that I should have taken my power and not allowed people to talk to me like that. So you can't change what you don't know. Don't really know, have never been taught. But anyway, my dad's side of the family, when they would get mad, would be name callers, and they'd find anything to say to hurt you. And I should say most of them. I had a cousin on my dad's side that I was extremely close to, but she have a lot of her personality too. But my dad, when he would get mean, like at 12 years old, I was kicked out. Well, I wasn't kicked out. My mom would have never allowed that. But he said, if you don't like the rules, and you can get out of the house, and you can do it. And it's like, well, where am I supposed to go? I'm 12 years old. And he's like, I don't, said the F word, care, just get out, blah, 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 blah. My dad was one of those people, when he got really mad, he was leaving. Said, I'm leaving, I'm out of here, I'm sick of this. And I think that's where it really came from, because I never had a sense of security. And plus, my parents were barely getting by. So, not that we've ever were homeless, but we were always on the edge of it at times. So I think there's a lack of security in my life. And so I started to have to, I don't even know if that's what it is. It's the only thing I can think of. But I've also been told by relatives and not, strangers, more than I'd like to, all the time. I should say classmates. But I was told I am worthless, I'm dumb, I'm ugly, I will never amount to anything, and you tend to believe that when it comes from people that you're supposed to be the closest to, that you're supposed to love the most. And so my people pleasing, I probably started then. And I did whatever I could to try and please people, but nothing was ever good enough. I'm fat, I'm dumb, I'm ugly, I'm worthless, and right down to I've had people tell me that I should take the first boyfriend that comes along because that's the best you're ever going to get, because somehow people think because you're fat that you are somehow not worthy of being loved the same way that a skinny person should be loved, that we should just tolerate anything because we are lucky we're with anybody. And that really affected me. It affected my relationship, my first ever relationship before Jason. And I allowed, I can't believe I'm going to tell this on the internet, but my self-esteem and my self-worth was so low. And I thought that this is the best I could get. That I was with a man for like almost 6 years, and I was a secret. I was not seen in public with him. That's so pathetic. And now that I think about it, back on it, I'm silly. I wasted 6 years of my life because that's what I thought my self-worth was. I thought that's all I was worth, was, well, it's better than nothing. And I would tell myself that. So when I finally woke up, it's hard for me to talk about. When he did something really horrible, and I realized that he's just never going to change, and I'm not ready to talk about exactly what, maybe someday, that I realized right then and there that I was never going to be loved the way I wanted to be loved by him, and that if I stayed, I'd probably be unalived, either by him or myself. And I realized I had to get out. And I'll tell you the story about Jason Knight some other time when for a different video, because I don't want this to be extremely long. But all I can say is I'm still sometimes dumbfounded that Jason is not embarrassed being seen with me. Let's just put it that way. This is how bad my self-esteem is. But all my life, I have been taught that this is society. This is the norm, that, you know, somehow I was beneath somebody else because I was fat. And I believed it. And especially when it comes from your family. I mean, when you're growing up, that's who you learn things from, is your family. And I know that my mom and I don't want to say conflict, because we didn't fight, but I know there was some hurt feelings on my end that she never, I just wanted her to be stronger, because she was, I'm just like her. I don't want to say weak, but that's the truth. And I always wished that she would have shown me what a strong woman was about. I mean, she was a strong woman in her own way. She worked very hard, always always made sure that we had food on the table and we were fed. And my dad did that too. And she poured her love into us, just that she didn't show us or me that what you should and should not put up with. My dad was very hard to live with, and yet she handled it. She dealt with it. I think she probably thought that was what she deserved. I'm not going to tell her story because it's not my story to tell. I don't have any way of asking her, is this how you really felt? I wish I did. I wish I had more time with her so I could have built that type of relationship. But she died when I was 28, almost 29. And we were just getting into that, solid friendship where, she didn't have to be just a mother. She could actually be a friend. But anyway, I don't want to get stuck on that. And I never realized just how bad and horrible my self-esteem was. And even now, I catch myself saying, I will have more self-esteem when I lose the weight. I will have more self-worth when I lose the weight. And it just occurred to me not too long ago. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you waiting until you lose the weight to have a self-esteem? And I know what it is because I was falling back in those old false stories that I was taught that, skinny means better. And I, for some reason, was thinking that I just wouldn't get it until I was thinner. And that is it's almost like self-sabotaging, because I'm losing weight to show myself that I am worth it. So how can I show myself I'm worth it if I can't love myself until I'm thinner? I need to love myself now by nurturing my body with with healthier foods, less of, and nurture my anxiety and my depression and my mental health by showing that that what they say was not the truth, and it was not my fault, and that I am worth more than I have allowed people to treat me. I have allowed people for me to be a part-time friend. I've allowed people to walk all over me. I've allowed my past and my pain to ruin my whole life. And now at 53, I can't get any of those years back. And I have to find a way to forgive myself for that. And it's very hard because it's like I've wasted the life that I was given on earth to live unauthentically, to allow others to decide what kind of person I am, even though I knew I was a good person on the inside. I knew I was loving and caring, and I was a good friend, and I want to see everybody be happy. But yeah, somehow I didn't think that was more important than what somebody else thought of me. And I'm here to say that's a bunch of, excuse my language, bullshit, and I'm over it. I love myself more now, and I deserve to be just as happy as somebody else that I'm wishing to be happy for. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like a friend of mine one time said something to me that just clicked, and I wish I had thought about it years ago. A friend that I have actually had that has proven to me she won't walk away, and that's like a total mystery to me, that why she doesn't walk away sometimes. But she once said, because she has gone, I'm not going to tell her story because it's not my story to tell, but she compares what she's gone through similar to, is like, she was told that you always save the last cookie, or whatever, the last piece of cake, whatever it is, for somebody else. Why is it that we have to save it for somebody else? Why is it that they can eat the last piece of cake, or the last piece of whatever, chicken, whatever you want to call it, but I can't? Why is it that they're more deserving of having that last piece than myself? Even if they had 3 or 4 pieces and I've only had one, I'm still supposed to leave it for, well, then who's ever going to eat it if that's everybody's, thinking? The point is, it is not wrong to put yourself first sometimes. I'm on the same level as everybody else, and I am just as worthy, she's just as worthy of love and being cared for, and deserving of that last piece of cake or whatever it is, than anyone else. And it really stuck with me. And I think that's really when I started to change my way of thinking. Is like, I deserve, and it's not selfish to think that you deserve just as much love, respect as anyone else. So I am learning that I'm going to learn to love myself. I do hate my body that I'm in. For the most, I don't like what it looks like, but it does not mean that I can't love myself. I know the weight's going to come off, the shield is going to come down, and I'm going to get healthier, but I could still love me. This is just a shell, an armor of pain, and I can still love me, because me comes from the inside. It's not what's on the outside. No matter what society has taught us, it's not what comes from the outside. And I am just as worthy, and you are too, of being loved for who you are, not what you look like. And I'm finally understanding that yes, I don't like this. I shouldn't say I don't like the fat. I don't like the fat that sits on my face. I don't like the fat that sits on my arms. But that's not me. That's just my shell that I have used for protection for years. Now it's time to heal myself and to show myself and to love myself enough to get rid of it. And changing my mindset has helped me to really lose some weight, because I realized that I don't need to use food. I don't need to keep the shell up anymore. That I can start breaking it down, and I can be just as, and become more vulnerable, but know that I am a human being, and what's on the outside is not who I am. It's just, unfortunately, it's almost like my scars of how I was treated, and it's time to heal those scars. So if you're going through stuff like this, then you have low self-esteem and self-worth, love yourself and take your power back, and know what they say is their struggle. It says more about them what they say about me. I'm sorry if somebody else believes that my fat makes me less than them. doesn't make it the truth. It's their opinions or however they were taught does not make it the truth. The truth is how you live, your authenticity, I know that I'm a good person, and I squished that down because I thought I was not as good as somebody else because of this, or I was selfish if I thought I was a good person. That's their problem if that's the kind of way that they want to think. I am not taking that type of thinking on anymore. I am going to start treating myself the same way that I treat others. I deserve to be respected. I deserve to be cared for. I deserve to be heard just as much as anyone else. Whether they are richer than me, whether they're skinnier than me, whether they have a better job than me, that does not make them better. It's your heart, your purity, what I mean by purity is how you treat others, how you live your life. Are you living it, authentically, or are you pretending to be something that you think society wants you to be? I'm done with all that. So I know this has gone on a little bit long time, but I needed to get that out. As always, thank you for listening to me. And please know, if you're struggling with this too, that I am here. And I'm going to tell you with everything in my soul that you are worth just as much as anyone else. And I truly want to see you become your best and live the way you want to live. And quiet that society's noise that has conditioned us for years and years and teaches that we should be sheep to the way they think that we should live. I'm done with that. I'm living my way, and I'm going to love myself because I am worth it. And if somebody else is worth being loved, I'm worth being loved. There is no difference. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day and your week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.